Life Unrehearsed on CJAD 800. Brought to you by Marco Vendramini of IG Private Wealth Management. MarcoVendramini.com.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed, a show about the ins and outs of family life. So your life isn't going exactly as planned? Well, you're not alone, and we're here to help out. My name is Matt Del Vecchio, specializing in free retirement home search and senior transition support.
And I'm Corey Sirota, clinical social worker and psychotherapist, specializing in grief and loss.
Coming right up on the first half of today's show, she overcame breast cancer and started a company that helps cancer patients in treatment and in recovery. You're not going to want to miss Joy Rodgers' story. Joy is in studio with us to tell us all about it. Now, Corey, I saw a couple things on Facebook, and someone is celebrating a birthday this week, aren't you?
This is true.
And you are doing a really good cause for your birthday. Tell us about it, please.
So many of you know that I am very passionate about my Camp Erin. I call it my Camp Erin camp, which is a free bereavement camp for children ages 6 to 17. So I saw this stuff on Facebook where people were doing these things on donate to a certain charity. I said, why not? Why not try it? And I am quite humbled and overwhelmed with the fact that we are really up to, I think the last check was about $2,500 that's going to Camp Erin.
Yeah, good for you. Such a great cause. You made it simple, and it is for a really great cause. We're going to be hearing more about that over the next few months because it's such a wonderful camp.
Thank you for raising that and bringing that up for me. Matt, we missed you last week. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, Matt injured his arm. How's the arm doing, Matt?
Yes. At 52, I think I could still play hockey when my wife would say, don't you think you should be giving up this case? I ruptured my bicep tendon, Corey, believe it or not. I wish I could say it was, you should have seen the other guy, but it was. This
Right.
is how pathetic it was. It was taking a shot, no one around me, and ruptured the tendon. So all this to say, this required surgery. This has been 2 weeks now, and it's been quite interesting. Stitches come out on Tuesday. I'll find out a little bit of the prognosis for rehab, but it's several months in all, so it's incredible. You come to realize, I'm a righty, and it was my right arm.
Of course.
You come to realize how often you need both arms, just the day-to-day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was running out. She had an open house today, and it was about an hour before I had to leave. I was like, Stephanie, I need you to tie my boots. So I'm walking around in winter boots, and just the day-to-day stuff from writing. I have to learn how to write. Kindergartens and kids, I'm on a close par with them right now, let me tell you. Cutting food, just all the basics. And, my wife, Stephanie, has been an absolute saint taking care of me. We talked about this.
Of course she has.
But, she's a caregiver. And very often we talk caregivers on our show. And we have just a little snippet of that. I got to tell you, though, one thing I'm probably going to milk even past the injury and rehab is I can't shower. I've got this thing all in my arms. So I'm getting these customized baths, and I have to say, getting the scalp, just washing the hair. So I have my appointment on Tuesday. I'm going to ask my doctor for maybe another 4 or 5 week extension.
Right.
Of
Okay,
the,
Matt, TMI. TMI. Not going to lie.
A little too much. She's right. Now, Stephanie, thank you very much. Oh, you a debt of gratitude. The flowers I bought you probably are just certainly not going to be good enough. However, this being said, we are blessed, Corey. We really are. We're fortunate for having this show, Life Unrehearsed, because, I was going through some pretty low times, I have to say, post-op and everything. And what got me through a lot was I thought a lot about our guests, because this is nothing. I'm going to recover from this. And today is just an indication. You heard about Joy, breast cancer survivor coming up. And on the second half, just the unimaginable happened. Right. And we're very fortunate and blessed to have our next guest.
So I'm going to elaborate on that without a doubt. Most of you have probably heard of the name Jesse Galganov by now. He's the young man who disappeared in Peru almost 1.5 years ago. Still, there's so many unanswered questions. None of us can imagine the emotional toll this has on his family here in Montreal. Well, today we have Jesse's mom, Elisa Clayman, in studio to provide us with the latest details and to tell us about how she's holding up under such horrific circumstances. That's coming up after the 4:30 news.
Yes, very fortunate to have Elisa here and looking forward to hear Lisa's thoughts. So, let's get started. We have a smiling face there, Corey, right in the other. Joy Rodgers, you've been through so much. You're a mother of 2 young children. Mm-hmm. You were diagnosed with triple-negative invasive breast cancer shortly after 35th birthday. That's so young. And since being diagnosed, Joy has been a big advocate. And I say a big advocate for cancer awareness as a whole. And in 2018, she launched Joyful Packages, which sells cancer care packages for patients in treatment and in recovery, as well as for their caregivers. Joy, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us and telling us your story and what you're doing. So first of all, triple-negative invasive breast cancer. That's a lot. What exactly is that?
So invasive means that it was in tissue other than my milk ducts. So my lump was almost like where the underwire of your bra goes, which is the invasive part. The triple negative part is there are generally 3 gene receptors that a breast cancer will stem from. There is progesterone, there's estrogen, and there's HER2. Mine do not respond to any of those, which means that it is trickier to treat because often you will hear breast cancer patients afterwards being put on hormone therapies. I personally was not responsive to any of those hormones. So it's a little bit trickier to treat. There's a little bit higher of a mortality rate with that. I was very lucky. Mine just responded immediately and we got it under control very quickly.
That's incredible to think about it. Even I can't imagine. So what helped you or motivated you to get through this?
I think it's got to be my children. My first thought was, am I going to be there to watch my kids grow up? Am I going to be at my daughter's wedding? My kids were 6 and 3 when I was diagnosed, and I just couldn't imagine, I had to put my kids through this, and they were little. I mean, my daughter was in grade 1, and it was a whole new reality for them. And so I needed to fight and be as strong as possible for them and make life as normal as possible for them because they didn't deserve any of it. So I really had to do what I can just to keep going and make things as normal as possible for my kids.
Survival mode and Mama Bear.
Completely.
That's Joy Rodgers talking to us about how she had to deal with her breast cancer. And, from what I understand, you had a double mastectomy. And
I did.
Then you had a hysterectomy after that.
Absolutely.
So, you've learned a lot, I'm sure, in terms of giving advice to our listeners who may be given at an early stage diagnosis. What could you give for words of advice?
So I had a friend that was diagnosed a little bit before me, and she gave the best advice, and it was just to breathe. And, we are very lucky that breast cancer is very treatable. And even when I spoke to my GP, her answer was, I'd love to think of it as breast disease. And yes, we use this word cancer because it is a cancer, but it is so treatable. And so my friend was like, just breathe, and it's going to be a bad time, but you're going to get through it. And when I met my oncologist the first time, it was the exact same thing. He's like, you're going to have a really crummy few months, and then you're going to move on, and you're going to move on with the rest of your life. So really, just breathe, and you're going to do it.
So simple.
It really is.
So
it
simple.
Really is.
So I know that you took your challenge and you created something really incredible. We've mentioned Joyful Packages, but we have to go for a traffic update. But when we come back, we want to hear it's not just a one-size-fit-all package. There's 4 different packages here. You've got to hear about that. We'll hear about that right after we hear from Carrie Yeager at the traffic center.
Life Unrehearsed on CJAD 800. Brought to you by Marco Vendramini of IG.
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Corey Sirotto with my co-host Matt Del Vecchio, and we are talking with Joy Rodgers, who is the creator of cancer care packages for patients in treatment and in recovery, as well as for their caregivers. Before traffic, I alluded to the fact that there's not a one-size-fits-all package, that I was intrigued to learn that there's at least 4 different packages. So I'd love for you to share with us what those 4 packages are and what was your incentive to even create this?
So I never actually intended on starting anything. But I found that once you are in recovery, once you're told there's no evidence of disease, you're in remission, I was kind of at a loss of what to do with myself. I'm no longer a patient, but I'm no longer back to being myself. And I didn't know, it was kind of difficult for me to get back to being me. I was a weaker version of me. I was a scarred, emotionally and physically version of myself. And I found it hard to get back to myself. So I was thinking of ways on how to make that easier. While I was in treatment, one of my best friends had sent me a gift, and I had received many, many gifts during treatment, but my best friend had really put together things that I needed, things that would really help me in my treatment. And so I'd actually started with an in recovery package, which were going to be items to help people that were in the same situation as me. I'm now in recovery, no evidence of disease. How do I help myself? And so, there's a resistance band to help you to kind of start working out again. There's a Lynx powder, and Lynx is kind of fruits and veggies to put in your water bottle just to kind of start that healthy eating again. And it's all items of necessity. And so I started with a recovery package. We have an in-treatment package, which, again, there's a stress ball for neuropathy. There's ginger chews for that metallic taste during chemo. We have a caregiver package because, the caregiver is that unsung hero who is the one driving you to your chemos and taking care of you, changing your bandages. And then the last package, which was, of course, the hardest one to do, is our young warrior, which is our kids that are going through treatment. And the kids package does have, that squishy ball for the neuropathy and that kind of stuff, but also has a little more fun toys in it because they are kids and they need to have fun.
That's Joy Rodgers, creator of Joyful Packages, creating cancer care packages. And good on you. Based on your experience, you obviously saw some stuff, as you were mentioning off air, you had a lot of stuff, but there was some stuff that was more relevant than others. And it seemed to be that the simple basics were the things that resonated with you.
Exactly.
And you've created not just one of these packages, but for recovery, treatment, caregivers, and children. You mentioned something, Joy, about warriors. And I think I saw you have something called Warrior of the Month. Is that
Absolutely.
true? So what is that?
So my packages are for purchase, but I did want to give back at the same time and celebrate different people. And so each month we have a Warrior of the Month, which is someone who we kind of celebrate a little bit on our Facebook, our Instagram, and they answer some questions. We make a blog post about them and a little bit about their experience. And at the same time, every person who has gone through their cancer journey has different organizations that are close to their heart. So a portion of the proceeds will be donated in that month to the charity of their choice. So we've given to High Lifeline. We've given to Siegel Center at the Jewish General Hospital. This month, our warrior she's actually very involved in fundraising for a hospital in Ottawa and a clinical trial. So this month, the funds are going to her charity in Ottawa. And so this way there is that donation aspect, that charity aspect of it as well.
Such a lovely sentiment. So how would someone, if they wanted to be considered for Warrior, does someone nominate someone or does someone...
So you could nominate someone. You could definitely nominate yourself. Either send an email to info@joyfulpackages.ca or contact me on Facebook or Instagram. Both are at Joyful Packages. And either say, I have someone who would be great for this, or I think I would love to do this.
Right.
And I would love, add their name to the list and just keep going each month a different person.
It's Joy Rodgers, creator of Joyful Packages, wonderful cancer care packages, and sharing your story. Very inspiring, Joy, I have to say. And obviously, who would have thought? This happened at 35?
Right, literally right after my 35th birthday.
So you are how old now? This has been going on for how long?
I'm just about to turn 38.
Wow, gone through all that. So is it fair to ask you, you've turned something obviously negative, traumatic. How has it changed you personally?
I think that I have, as moms And I'm a first aid coordinator at a school. I'm a volunteer paramedic. I'm a very giving person. But I think since this, I'm doing a little bit for myself too. And, you know, if there's that pair of shoes that I really want to buy, I'm going to go and buy it. And 2 weeks ago, I was really, really tired, and I picked up my daughter, and we flew to Florida for the week, which is not something that I would generally do. I'm not going to spend the money, or I'm not going to do this. And now I'm just kind of under the thought that life's too short, and you've really got to enjoy it. And if, you know, as long as my loved ones are taken care of, I'm going to do those things to make me happy, to make my family happy.
So unbelievable, beautiful attitude, and a great gift you're giving yourself, and a gift that you're creating for other people to give. And I think people like to have this as something that they can do because they may feel very helpless. So you're giving them that segue to be able to do it. So I just want to say thank you for really creating this initiative, and I'm sure that there are people that will be very interested in accessing these packages. So how, again, I know you mentioned already, how again can people get a hold of
So you could go on the website, which is joyfulpackages.ca. I have a Facebook and an Instagram page. Both are at Joyful Packages, and you could just order directly from there. You choose your box and order them that way.
And it could all be done online.
Absolutely. We ship everywhere, all around the world. I was very excited. I shipped my first package to Israel.
Wow, very good. So international and not just local. And
absolutely.
Well, congratulations, and such a wonderful thing you're doing. And
Thank you.
Wish you the best of success and continued success, both in health and happiness. And you have 2 kids that should be very, very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on a snowy Sunday and for being with us. All right, now coming up after the news, her son Jesse Galganov traveled to Peru almost a year and a half ago. Elisa Clayman still has not heard from him, but she's not giving up. We'll hear from Elisa after the 4:30 news.